Hey guys, in this video, I would like to share with you a couple of things that I used for me to literally finish my PhD in 2 years. And I think if I did it, you can too. So anyway, my name is Dr. T, and I have a PhD in business management from the University of Johannesburg. And again, I did my PhD within a 2 year time frame, which is the minimum possible amount of time that you can take when you're doing a PhD. And I think for me, it all boils down to these four items that I put on the board that will make you a success when it comes to your PhD. So the first one is resilience. The reason why I put resilience as number one on this list is the fact that as a PhD student, you are going to face a number of challenges. And these challenges will range from, first of all, not having enough time if you're doing it part time like I was doing, or just not having enough resources. If you're doing it full time, chances are you're going to be struggling a lot with the funding part of it. Or if you do have funding, you will not necessarily have enough funding for you to have all your immediate needs addressed. So that's the first one. The second part, I think, for me, which was the critical part, was how do you make sure that everyone that is working with you on this PhD journey doesn't at some point become an anchoring point where, when they weigh the anchor, you get sunk with them. And this is particularly true when it comes to your supervisors. Now, a PhD supervisor, obviously, is someone that has been allocated to you by the university, and you don't have a lot of say in that, especially in the beginning, unless if it's that program where you're allowed to choose someone, or you yourself, you approach a particular supervisor and say, hey, Mr. Supervisor X or Prof X, Dr. Y, I need your support because I'm interested in this research field and I think you'd be a good fit for me. So what usually happens is every 2 weeks, for example, in my case, I was writing up something and then I was sharing it with my supervisors, and they would then, almost maybe it's like a marking thing, if you are in undergrad or if in masters, and then they would come back to you and say, okay, Mr. T, you need to fix 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in your submitted piece of work, and then you are supposed obviously to correct that and send it back to them again. And this is a cycle that keeps on, happening over and over and over again over the 2 year period. And if you want to be good at that, you need to be resilient. At some point, you're going to put everything that you have in a particular piece of submission. For example, in your introduction, chapter one, you put, all your energy, all your thoughts, where you think you have done a lot of work, you send it to them, it comes back with 900 things that you have to change. And obviously, sometimes it can be demoralizing, but don't be demoralized because this is part of the PhD process. Everyone goes through the same process. I went through the same process and still I made it in 2 years. So be resilient, be strong. That's the first one. Number two, consistency. You need to be consistent. Again, it goes hand in hand with the concept of resilience. If you are consistent, you are in a better position to manage the expectations of not only you, but as well as the people that you're working with. In this case, your supervisors. So, if, for example, you have agreed that every 2 weeks or every week you're going to meet, you need to make sure that every single day, you are writing something. Every single day, you are submitting something to your supervisors, and they can see the work that you're putting in. They can see the effort that you're putting in. And obviously, once they see this, they'll also be in a better position to say, this is the guy that we think is interested. This is a guy that we think is gonna go the long haul when it comes to finishing a PhD in 2 years. So be consistent. If you do decide to write up every single day, like I did, a PhD is a long play game. A PhD thesis is 180,000 to 100,000 words, maybe 300 or more pages. So if you do decide to write once every day, once every 2 days, I decided to write a page every single day. You can do that also. That's part of consistency. Despite how you're feeling, despite any challenges you have, obviously, if you're sick, sometimes you don't have to write. But if you do get the chance, please make sure that you're consistent. This is the key ingredient. Number two, when it comes to finishing a PhD within a 2 year time frame. Number three, communication. Communication is important, particularly because you're working with so many different people. You're working with supervisors that have, schedules. These are people that are profs and doctors at a university. and they are teaching. They have other administrative tasks that they have to do. So this is all up to you. You have to initiate. You manage that relationship. Too many a time, I've seen students or PhD students, even master students, just being pushed along by their supervisors, and it shouldn't be the case because you are spending your sweet money on a PhD. You should make sure that your supervisors work for it. You should make sure that they understand where you're going. You want to finish in 2 years, and they're going to make it happen for you. Only if you communicate your expectations, only if you receive their communication, and only if you come back to them with the expectation on a weekly basis every 2 weeks. If you are resilient and you revise what has been asked of you to revise, only if you are consistent and you write every single day, you write every single week, you submit a particular part of your thesis every single week, every single 2 weeks, and you communicate with your supervisors mostly. The fourth part is vision. Vision is important. Know where you want to go. That's the key thing. If you want to finish in 2 years, like I'm saying, know that it's going to take you 2 years to go from introduction, to go to chapter 2 methodology, to go through literature review, and then to go through to your data collection and analysis, to go through to your results and conclusions, as well as recommendations. This is all within a 2 year time frame. Understand that long play, the 2 year long play, and start now. Like I was saying, write a page every single day, write a chapter every single month, and get it revised. Get your supervisors on the ball to give you feedback and as often as you want them to. And ultimately, they will contribute to your vision as a PhD student. And within 2 years, you would have achieved your PhD. Resilience, consistency, communication, vision results in PhD in 2 years. Great stuff. Thank you.